chased it for years.
Stop. Don't want to hear something. It's ConvoTime. This is the show where we talk about anything and everything that has to do with young adults. As per usual, I've got my guys.
How you doing?
You guys are rocking the same thing right now.
How you doing?
How you doing? Toaster, how you doing?
I'm fine.
Why?
I feel like it's because what we're talking about today.
Toby!
Calm yourself for a second. Ronke, how you doing, baby girl?
I'm good. How are you, babes?
I'm good. You okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
You sure?
Yeah.
Hold on a second. Ayo, how you doing?
Hi, I'm
You
good.
good?
Thanks. How are you?
Sure?
Are you well? Because you're looking well.
I'm looking well. I'm feeling well, love. Marbury.
Slow down for you. That's so serious.
Right. Ronke, I see that you feel a bit on edge there. Not gonna talk?
Like sips tea.
Okay, here's the deal, guys. This is why I think Ronke might be a little bit on edge, because I want us to discuss a topic that is not discussed, especially by Nigerian people. I don't understand why it's shied away from, because it's happening, it's the reality, and we need to discuss it. It's very sensitive, but I want to know how we feel and what we think about this. And this is the topic of sexuality and sexualism. Being gay, being a lesbian, being straight, it's all in the same circle. What are you?
100% proud straight man.
Well, we can't say we're not going to talk about this because it's too sensitive or whatever. It's happening around us. Let's be real, right? We're all straight here. We all like guys.
Toby is like, Toby likes guys the most.
Oh, nah, man.
He loves them.
Women.
But here's the deal: we know people that are either gay or lesbians that don't have same
There's a
don't
lot
have
of
same
things in
sex.
between as well.
Yeah.
Exactly, and this is a
LGBTQRST.
wow.
Don't know.
The first thing I want to ask here is, why is it a topic that's shied away from so much? Why do Nigerians not want to talk about being gay or being a lesbian or just sexuality in general?
Because it means it's real.
Go for a bad thing. It's a taboo.
Yeah, it means it's real if they're actually having discussions about it. Like, people,
But it is real.
People like to think that it's not.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, that was.
So they don't want to talk about it.
But
But if we don't talk about it, it's not happening. Yeah, it's
But
just
it's
sticking
happening.
your head in the sand. But I'm telling you the reason. Like, they're sticking their head in the sand. That's why they're not talking about it.
So what then happens if they're not talking about it, they're sticking their head in the sand and then it's hitting them in the face? Then what happens?
Like, you die.
Yeah, I feel like it's the thing about the whole topic is basically like, I wouldn't say Nigerians, just I would say a few people like, feel like if it doesn't affect me, I'm not concerned.
Yeah.
And that is where I stand. I'm strongly all about, listen, let's don't wait till it gets to you before you speak about it. Like, this is a thing that happens, people come out every day. Like, for me, I think what really got me concerned was when Jay-Z's mom came out. I mean, an American rapper, and his mom came out saying she's a lesbian. Like, his mom, she had 5 kids. And I was like, yo, hold on, so what if my mom came out or something? Now, is that when I'm going to be like, raw?
Yeah. Especially in that hip-hop culture where they're so
Yeah.
generally homophobic. I think that hit home for a lot of
I
people.
wouldn't lie, I've been in that boat as well, where I've literally said for a very long time, because it's not anything that's personal to me, or it's not in my home or anything, it's got nothing to do with me. So to each his own, let everybody ride the way they want to ride. This is me, I'll do me. But I'm now thinking, let's be real, if I don't open my mouth and say, okay, this is how I feel, or this is what I think, I'm then one of those people saying, nah, it's not real until it hits home.
Mm-hmm.
Do you get what I mean? And I don't want to be that. It's happening. It's happening. People are coming out, like you said, on a daily. And if, God forbid, because I won't lie, it's not something I want, because I don't know how I would handle it in my home. So I will say, God forbid, anybody that wants to take me up and that take it. I don't advocate for someone to come, like for a member of my family to say, just to me, it would be like, are you telling me it's a decision you made? Whereas I do know people that are gay, and I know for them, it's not something that's taken very lightly. It's not a decision that they made. This is how they have been. But I will question it on my level going, okay, I've known you all your life. You're a member of my family. How is this happening? So I need to be real now and not go, what if? Do you get what I mean? And that's what a lot of Nigerians don't want to do. They don't want to be real.
They don't want to.
They don't want to go what if.
They don't want to answer it.
Do you get?
Yeah.
And I've now realized, because you asked me a question earlier that, are there any African countries that have legalized same-sex marriage? There is only one. South Africa is the only country that has legalized same-sex marriage. And
it's a crime in other countries.
Every other country, you get jailed, killed, depending on what country you're in. And I'm like, wow.
I think that's a funny. Sorry to cut you short, but I feel like the whole idea of sending you to jail, I think that's it shows how ignorant like most Africans are. Because I'm like, if I'm gay and you put me in a room with another gay guy for 10 years, how's that punishment?
You take away the freedom, but the punishment for the actual act that you're like imprisoning them for is what you're giving to them.
You're not really like. I remember there was a guy. They didn't cut me. This was a guy who went viral because basically the police force in Nigeria arrested a group of guys who were meant to be having an orgy, but they didn't actually catch them in the act, and it was more like a thing whereby, and he was like, they didn't cut me, and I was like, the sad part about it is, he's probably gay, but he can't come out. Because why? We're in a country whereby if he comes out, everyone's going to give him, his family might even turn their backs on him, and them turning their back on him, now here's where I question this whole situation, right? They're turning their backs on him, and now let's say the whole idea of Bobrisky, for example. Bobrisky is successful. He's feeding his family. So let's say in that situation, would the family not say, we don't want your money, we'd rather be in poverty? Do you know what I'm saying? Or this kid is actually helping us. Like in Ireland, for example, our Taoiseach is gay. He's from an Indian background. This happened when he became Taoiseach. In India, they didn't know how to express their feelings because like, we're proud, but why are we like that? Why can't you just say, okay, let me try to understand what the situation is. Let's, talk about it. Like, for example, I feel like you go to African churches and it's more like, I'm against it. Why are you against it? Like, for you to be against something, explain it.
For the African churches, I think I know that it's based on the Bible. Do you know what I mean? Like,
there's a lot of things the Bible says that you should not do that they do in the churches.
I can't.
So why do you? But it's true. Why do you pick that one? Like, for example, I meet Christians who would say, "Oh, the Bible says a sin is a sin, right?" But they find it difficult to understand that you telling a lie is equivalent to someone killing someone. A sin is a sin in the eye of God. Do you get what I mean? So that's where I feel like we need to stop and say, listen, at some point, it's gonna hit home, whether you like it or not. You're gonna have to. It's either you work with someone who you really like, or your friend, or it might even be your family. So why are you gonna wait to that point and then go, right? Which is bad, because then you're not open to it when it happens. Your reaction is gonna be so biased that you probably regret it going down the line.
What happens is they end up kicking them out. For me, when I think about it, it's similar to, maybe not exactly the same, but similar, but in an African mind, for a girl to get pregnant out of wedlock. Because it got to the stage where parents don't want to talk about it because I know that's not my child. My child would never do that. God forbid. And then the girl comes home and says, I'm pregnant, and they kick her out.
I still think those are very, very different
things. No,
things.
They're different, but I'm saying in a Nigerian person's mentality, when they don't talk about things like, because Nigerians don't, in a home, when they hear, somebody's daughter got pregnant, the first thing they say is, that can never happen to my own kid. It is kind of like a taboo
to have a kid out of wedlock.
Yeah, so the first thing they say is, that would never happen to my child.
What you're saying essentially is that they believe that in both scenarios that they're making choices.
Basically, that's the Nigerian mind, that it's the child, because this is what would happen if a child comes out and says, a Nigerian child comes out and says to their parents, I'm gay or I'm a lesbian, they will say, when did you decide that? That's the question they will get.
When did it happen?
When did it happen? Because as far as they're going to be concerned, I did not give birth to you, gay or lesbian. You made that choice. That's how they see it. So because they're not discussing how this would ever come about, they're automatically seen as, it's the equivalent for them. You decided to get pregnant and you decided to be gay. So whatever decision I make on your life at that point, it's going to be the same thing. If they're not going to be open to a girl getting pregnant and coming home and saying, Mom, I got pregnant, they're not going to be open to the girl coming home and saying, Mom, I'm a lesbian. Because as far as they're concerned, it's a choice.
Can I throw a question out? Yeah. So, Ronke, I want to address you, right? So, let's say, I'll give you 2 scenarios. You pick which you want to answer to make it easier for you, right? So, your brother comes out gay, or your husband coming out to you telling you he's gay.
Your husband.
Yeah.
I feel like they're very different things.
Yeah, pick one to react. What would be your reaction? Pick one. Even though they're both there.
I don't know what my reaction would be, as Larissa said. Like,
Okay.
I don't know how I would react because I'm not in that situation.
These things could happen. Have you ever, like, are you...
Oh yeah, I know these things could happen.
Okay, so do you... Okay, let me make it easier for you. They're in... Right now, wherever country you live in, they want to legalize equal same-sex marriage. Would you vote for them to have that opportunity to say, I want to do what I want?
I don't believe in homosexuality.
As a Christian, your belief says you should not drink alcohol. Do you drink alcohol?
Yes.
So, why choose what part of your...
Our religion didn't say we shouldn't drink alcohol.
What does your religion say? Is abstain from? Your Bible says abstain.
I don't know. Does it not say something about like being don't be a drunkard or something?
Your Bible clearly says abstain.
It doesn't say abstain.
I'm not gonna look for. I can't find the verse. But okay, so do you commit sin?
Sorry?
Do you commit sin?
Yes, every day.
But
she's human.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You're human. So why are you gonna choose to not be human at some point? When I'm literally asking
you. But you're asking her about somebody else. It just happens to be a member of her family. You're not asking her about her being gay or a lesbian.
It's not about...
She doesn't believe it.
So you're talking about, like, say, in the voting system and, like, giving people rights to engage in, like, having a marriage, so to speak.
Yeah.
That's what you're talking about. And you're talking about people voting for it to be legal or not.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's fair enough. Like, some people will choose not to vote because they don't want to... They don't want to engage in making this thing, like, I suppose, legal because it might be against their religion. And I understand for a lot of Christians, that's the thing. Now, however people decide to, like, work on their faith is their own thing. Do you know what I mean? I would vote for it because outside of the faith, right? Because, like you say, there's so many things that we do or don't do. And there's a whole lot of, like, hypocritical things that happen in the faith. So outside of the faith, just on a secular level, human rights, I feel like everybody should have the right to be able to do whatever it is that pleases them, as long as it's like not hurting anybody, not killing anybody, as long as it's maintaining their own human rights and maintaining everybody else's, right? So say on that level, like, it's not affecting my life. I'm not homosexual or whatever, but there's bare people out there that, like, because they can't get married or can't do certain things because they're not allowed to, it hits home for them, like, and it's really affecting their day-to-day living, like, it's affecting their lives in huge ways, it's affecting their psyche or whatever. It's not bothering me whether or not they get married, it's not bothering my faith as a Christian whether or not they are married. So, like, let them do what they want to do. Like, let anybody do what it is that they choose to do, as long as they're comfortable and not hurting anybody or themselves.
I want to come into your faith now. A gay Christian youth leader comes to your church to give the sermon. Are you going to question his faith? He's gay. He's a youth leader. He does everything, but he's gay.
Toby, I don't have answers to that one because, like,
it hasn't happened.
Because
and that's
it hasn't happened.
So we're gonna wait till it happens.
We were talking about this, and we were saying that I believe, like, because I'm Christian, I don't engage in any other religion, so I can't speak for them. But I feel like within the Christian religion, the church should be talking about these things. We should be having the conversation in the house, because I was saying earlier, this is where people come for refuge. Like me, for example, I can't speak for anybody else. If you're unsure, if you're confused, like this particular scenario, I don't know what I would do. But I should be able to walk into the house of the Lord and somebody to be able to, like, make it clear to a point that I understand. And then on top of that, the Holy Spirit has to convict me in whatever is going on. Because you can spout for days, but if I'm not convicted, I'm not following whatever you're saying. I'm going to go read my own Bible until I'm convicted. Do you know what I mean?
And I fully agree. I fully agree, because at the end of the day, places like the church are not discussing things like this, and it needs to start from the home as well. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll continue this discussion. See you soon. So before the break, the last thing we said was talking about the church and how these things are actually not being discussed in the church. And that's one of the biggest problems I have. Because like you said, this is somewhere that people are supposed to go seek refuge, even in general. And if they're not understanding what this is that's going on, there's some people, I know somebody in particular that, now, I don't want to seem like I'm politically incorrect, but this is this particular person that has said to people that they are confused. Now, if somebody says they're confused about their sexual orientation, there's a problem. It's either one or the other. Now, this is not this person saying they want to make it, they have decided. Now, this is the thing. But the reason why I feel they're confused is because they don't understand what they're supposed to do with their feelings. Because the discussions, this is how I see it, right?
Okay.
If discussions have not been had with this person in the home, it has not been had in the church, and these are the two places that they are constantly in, and they're surrounded by people telling them, you can't, I don't like this, you're not supposed to be this is not supposed to be the way. Of course, there's going to be a confusion from a very young age. It's very possible that they know what they're supposed to be. It's either the person is gay, lesbian, or straight, but there is going to be some kind of confusion if they have not not in a position to understand or discuss how they're feeling. Like, I'll give you an example. Don't take this as, I'm making it an equal thing. But if I say, I'm not sure, how do I put this? No.
Can I come back to you on the, I suppose, being confused or whatever?
Yeah, go on.
I don't think it's necessarily a matter of, like, you need to know what you are, because a lot of people don't necessarily know exactly this is what it is, because, like, sexuality is on a spectrum.
Yeah.
And, like, there's bisexual people as well. And when you're talking about being confused, I think it's just when people try to force somebody to sit on a particular part of the spectrum, and it's like, I don't actually feel exactly like this. And maybe that's when people feel like they need to explore to be able to say, actually, maybe this is what I am most comfortable with.
But this is the thing. This is where I see it, right? Because of the fact that, and this is what I mean by the confused. I don't know, because I don't know this person on a personal level. I just know about their situation. And what I think about it is, I know for a fact that they have not been given the platform to even open their mouth and say, I feel like this. Do you get what I mean? And this is a young person. There's some things that you don't even understand in a general sense. Talk less of your emotions. If you don't know how you feel about something, not necessarily how you feel, but more so how people are going to think about you. If that's very important to you, you're going to be very confused.
Okay, can I just come in there? I'm glad you mentioned that. I want to clarify, first of all, I used to be a very homophobic guy. I was that guy who was like, nah.
We remember.
Yeah. Until I started to learn that, listen, you can't speak of something if you don't have a knowledge of it. It's like when it comes to race, when you have a white guy who doesn't even live in the ghetto, tries to speak of what happens in the hood, and they're like, you're not from here, you don't know what happens on a daily basis. I had to start speaking. I actually ended up going to gay bars, because I had a friend who was working there, and she was like, you're speaking of people who you've never met. I have this whole, fictional, stereotypical thing where, like, this is what they do, they're this. And I was like, okay, hold on. I feel like this is where a lot of Africans fall in, where we just think, this is what they do. And I'll give you an example whereby when you say that they don't know what they are. Like, you can have Africans sometimes believe that, you're probably gay because you're always hanging out with people like this, and he does nesting. It's some kind of experiment, and then the whole peer pressure thing, whereby you think, all your friends were gay, so you two are like, oh man, me too, I just wanted to be gay. Now, I've been in a situation whereby I've had friends who I'd always say, do you not question your sexuality based on what you're doing? Like, I want to speak on the whole idea of guys now being more experimental with oral sex and all that kind of thing. And recently, I was with a group of guys, and I found out that a guy's G-spot is actually up his back and his anus. And I was like, so you guys mess around like that? They tried to make me feel like I was the only guy who was weird. Do you understand what I'm saying? Now, if I'm a guy who I fall into all that peer pressure thing, I'll probably be like, I want to try
Check it out.
Do you know what I mean? And then, do you know what I'm saying?
It's likely.
So do you know what I'm saying? That's how most people would see it as, you're very experimental. That's how you became gay. But whereas, this is a thing where I feel like most gay people, they've always had it in them, but they can't come out because they feel like, they start to question, I want to be straight. My mom is not going to be happy. Yeah. Like, some of them, it goes beyond people. I honestly believe there's lots of people who are married who are gay. But they can't come out.
I won't lie to you, it does happen because It happens because it gets to the
yeah,
stage where
I know
nobody has been able to discuss with them what they were feeling originally, and they were pressured into let me marry, let me have kids. Obviously, like we've said, like what's this guy, the celebrity, Jay-Z's mom. Okay, she has kids, so obviously it was she couldn't talk about it before. So she like, let me roll with the flow, let me have all the kids that people are expecting me to have, and it took years for her to be able to say, actually, those kids were. I probably wouldn't have had them if I was able to speak up before.
And I want to clarify on something. Like I feel like that's one of the things that was my turning point. Like, for you to keep something in that long, it's not something about enjoyment.
No.
So unhealthy.
You must be dying.
So unhealthy.
Like, do you know what I'm saying?
Like,
it's
mental
not.
health,
It's like some deep thing, and I feel like that's where a lot of Africans need to stop being, oh, I'm a Christian, no offense to you, I'm a Christian, this is against my thing, and saying, hold on, let me be open to see.
One of the biggest reasons,
though,
go ahead.
I will say, like, even with the Christian thing, I know I'm very, very liberal, but my faith is my faith. If anybody wants to judge me for it, sorry. Like, as in, like, sorry, screw you, because I don't care. Not actual sorry.
Sorry, not sorry.
Exactly. But then, for a lot of people are so tied to their faith that they can't let go of this particular aspect. And I'm not coming for you, but I'm saying that I can understand. In the same way, I do have a friend who's lesbian, and we've sat down together and had the conversation. She knows I'm Christian, and I say to her, I'm like, girl, honestly, like, this is what I know the Bible to say. Now, like, you know, I'm not gonna be like going around shouting, being like, oh, this is the way that it should be. But I'm like, can you understand why certain Christians who are not like me, not as liberal as me, would say, I actually don't want anything to do with that? And she's like, yeah, I get it. And I'm like, in the same way that, like, I can understand that some gay people will be very opposed to even being around Christians, because it's like, why would you not be open enough to try and understand my part?
Are they really Christians, though? That's my question. Are you really a Christian when you decide to say, you know what? Like, okay, this is how I say it. Mm-hmm. The Christians who are musicians, who sing about shake your ass, shake your ass, shake your ass. Are you going to tell me he's not a Christian because what he does is against your Bible? Are you going to question his Christianity? That's it. You can't tell me because you're a Christian that, oh, what you're doing is totally. How do you know it's wrong? All right, okay, for example, I hate to come towards you for this, but you're a Catholic.
Yeah.
There's so many priests who always touch boys.
Always.
Why don't you? What I mean? Okay, sorry. It's a thing that
it had been said that this happened.
Sorry, yeah, and it's a
happen,
fact that I mean, why don't you go? I can't be part of this if this is what. Like, for example, like, it was a big thing when the Pope came to Ireland.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
You know? So, at that point, if there was a priest that, let's say your confirmation, the priest who done it, I touched the boy, would you now say, okay, my confirmation is fake? See? That's why I feel like you need to be open.
What do you mean my confirmation is fake?
The priest that confirmed you was touching boys. So, is he really a priest?
But I'm sure at that time...
He was touching boys.
But at that time, we wouldn't have known.
Oh, no, but you found out after. That guy who confirmed you at that point was touching boys. So, at that point, was he really a Christian? What he done for you, was that real?
See, we're not getting into the whole topic of Christianity, which is a whole
we're not
thing.
getting into
I'm
just questioning.
I get what you're saying.
Picking that I'm against this because of this. But then I'm asking you, would you not be against your confirmation if the person who confirmed you wasn't really, 100% holy?
But then, I get completely what you're saying, and I actually do agree. But then on the flip side, can we say that because certain people are hypocritical in their faith, that certain parts of the faith shouldn't stand? Question mark. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, just to clarify, just because of your sexuality, I'm not going to hate you because I'm a Christian. Yeah. Because God has told us, God is love, and He has called us to love one another. So still, yeah, I will show you love. I will respect your decision. And I wouldn't hate against you because that's not what I was called to do. But this is my belief also.
Everybody is entitled to believe what they want to believe.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
Yeah, but
as long as you're not disrespecting or enforcing your belief on somebody else, then it's fine.
I'm not hating.
Yeah. Like, see, the biggest thing,
who you want to be, like whatever.
Whatever. In fact, man, whatever. See, one of the biggest reasons why I feel this really, really needs to be touched on, and it's not just on ConvoTime, I'm bringing this out to people that this needs to be discussed. The idea of people not being able to talk about how they feel or what they're going through or their sexuality leads to, especially those that need confirmation from family, that need not confirmation or approval, that need acceptance. That's the word. For your family to accept that, because for lots of people that I know, right? The family orientation is there. They're very intertwined in their family. And once they say they want to come out and their family is not going to accept them and they get kicked out, that's it. Their life is over. And then comes into things like depression, suicide. And these things are real too. So why is it that you're gonna want to segregate being gay and coming out and being depressed and suicidal? Because in retrospect, these things could lead to the other if they're not discussed.
I mean, yeah, I certainly
Do you
agree.
get? And that's one of the biggest things I want to pull out, that if we don't start opening our eyes to the fact that this is real, like you rightly said in the very beginning, Nigerians don't want to talk about it because if they talk about it, it's real. And if they don't talk about it, then it's not happening. But does that also mean that you don't want to talk about depression and suicide because if you don't talk about it, it's not real? It is very real. People are committing suicide because of things that they are going through. And this is one of the things they're going through.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like at the end of the day, like, even if people feel like they can, I feel like the conversation needs to be had in an open way.
Definitely.
Because we can say discussion and it'll be like, sit your child down and be like, you better not be gay. You know what I
Very
mean?
true.
Like,
Very true.
Because, like, even when talk about depression and suicide, bare people are let's not even talk about suicide.
That's a
because
different
that's
topic,
even
yeah.
like, that's huge. But bare people are going through depression because they can't even have the conversation because they know, do you know what I mean?
What
like,
the answer is gonna
They
be.
know what it's gonna be just because of the way that their parents or people around them speak on gay people that they see, speak on things that they see just around them in general. So even when we're not having the discussion, things that are said sideline, do you know, like day-to-day things, like obviously they like affect people. So I think it's a level of being open. Like, Ronke, you're Christian, but you're not disrespecting people.
No, not at
people
all.
are constantly disrespecting people because of their sexual
Yeah.
orientation. And that's why people can't have the conversation. That's why your 15-year-old child is sitting at home depressed because they like a boy and he's watching gay porn on the computer.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
But
have
it's
the
real.
discussion, don't disrespect people, and that's what it is for me.
Definitely. I fully agree with you. The discussion needs to be had in the home and yes, in the church. So we want to know what your opinions are on this as well. Do you believe the same thing? What are your beliefs and what are your opinions on this topic? Our information is rolling at the bottom of the screen. Please, please, please comment. Open forum, we want to know. We'll see you next time on ConvoTime. Bye.